Welcome to another video blog by the Counseling Geek, a blog helping you, the professional educator, develop technical and 21st century skills.
Hi, this is the Counseling Geek. I'm here with the first video interview with Rebecca Lallier. She's in Vermont. She's a school counselor of 17 years. She spent 1 year at a high school, and then for the rest of the time, she's been a K-5 elementary counselor. And she is also a graduate supervisor and mentors new school counselors. She worked previously in hospice and training families and supervisors and volunteers and running coordination for workshops for their counselors and teachers. She writes the School Counseling by Heart blog for school counselors, educators, and other mental health professionals, sharing techniques and lessons and experiences and struggles that she's gone through. So I'm going to go ahead and open up to Rebecca, and she's going to just lead us through. We're going to ask some questions, and she's going to hopefully answer some and share some good information with us. So thank you for being here, Rebecca. The first questions I'm going to pose to you is, can you describe a little bit about your past? We talked a little bit about it in our intro, but can you describe a little bit of your past as a counselor and how you got started in your profession?
I was, when my kids were in elementary school, I went back to grad school and entered the counseling profession. I really love to work with kids, and I love prevention work and bringing it all together from my hospice work with patients and counseling and bringing it together with kids. So that's how that started.
Excellent. What did you feel like was the biggest thing that led you from hospice to education setting? Just to kind of add on that question.
I think my experience, I had a lot of experience volunteering in schools. I did a lot of grant writing and just being with my own children and in volunteering in their classrooms. Also, the profession had really changed in my experience, my personal experience. Having counselors was only in junior high and high school, and it was not extremely helpful at all. It's nothing that I had considered until that time. And the profession has changed even more since I've been in it and gone more in the direction that I'm really interested in terms of really teaching skills.
Excellent. Okay. Currently, what type of technologies do you regularly integrate into your counseling program at the elementary school level right now?
Well, up until, to the point of the end of the school year, it's going to look really different, I think, beginning in the fall. But I use Smartboard a lot. Almost all of my lessons from second grade through fifth grade are also on the Smartboard, so they're interactive with kids. And some of the first grade lessons have been. I haven't done any with kindergarten. And that has been amazing. We got the Smartboards, so I took the training figuring I would use them. And I really can't believe the increase in the student learning from the Smartboards. I wasn't really a skeptic, but I really have been amazed by how much more their learning is. And I have them do the review teaching. It just gives us quick access to a lot of things, and that ability for them to move things around and move their bodies around has been really great. So that's a big part of what I do. Also making movies with kids. I have a flip camera that they use or I use, and we do that like with individuals or groups. I've even done it in the classroom. I'm very beginner movie maker, but it's not very hard to do it and kind of fake your way through it and come out with something that the kids learn and it helps their learning. And then this past year, we switched over partway through the year to having Gmail accounts at school. So started being able to use those other things that are available through Google. What started initially really was kids sharing writing with me that was around my particular issues of bullying or friendship and those sorts of things. So if they wrote something about that, they would say to me, "Oh, I Google Doc'd you, Mrs. Lallier." And so that's been a really nice piece. I have done some lessons in the computer lab with kids when I felt like what was available was appropriate, and we did some substance abuse education kind of stuff in the lab. And I've done other things with groups in the lab. It's a little hard to schedule, so that's a little bit of a piece that I'm competing with everybody else to get okay resources, but they're limited. I did buy my own iPad in the spring. The high school counselors all got them, even though they didn't have Wi-Fi in their school. But so But I bought my own and started using it a little bit with kids. Like Breathe to Relax is a great app that I was using with my anxious kids, and they really liked it. And Sketch, a few things. I think I'll be using it a lot more this year because it was really right towards the end of the year that I got it. As I said, there's going to be some big changes for next year because we've had a lot of change, but we have a new principal who started last year who used to be a technology integrationist, and we have a new technology integrationist who's wonderful and really has been so helpful in teaching. So I've spent a lot of time over the summer developing stuff that I'll be using next year. I have in the works a web quest that through Google Sites that kids will be doing around career thing. I'm going to do some blogsters with kids. I made a sample in our bullying unit. And I have another voice thread activity around some collaboration that I'm doing with art teacher. Also teaching bullying to explore also in my teaching, but also to have they're really fun, but you can't do that. I don't. And then in terms of connecting with parents, I have a blog that I write to keep them informed of what we're doing. And also I add some resources through the school Facebook page. And I'm going to be creating a website specifically for us through Google Sites. Other than that, I've, of course, for many years used PowerPoint, and I kind of switched over and did Prezi last year. A little bit. That was very easy to teach myself. And I like to try Slide Rocket, but I haven't tried it yet. And then just organizing a lot, of course, Google Calendar for my own personal Gmail account at school, but I've switched over. I've been using Evernote in the past. I used Delicious. I probably be changing that, but I have been cataloging my books through the library thing, and that has been that's amazing to be able to know what I've got and have it all tagged. It's been really wonderful. And of course, saving things through Pinterest that I can use, and I just recently started using EduClipper also to make it a little less sort of, Pinteresty. And oh yeah, I just now, wow, I wish I think like now that video clips in a lot of my lessons with kids when they're appropriate and pertinent and helpful. So I think that's pretty much it. I think it's all. Awesome. Oh, I think also just like in terms of having a professional learning network, the blogs that I follow, and I just recently started Twitter this summer, my own blog, and connecting with people is a good thing.
So how do you feel about technology, the improvements that it's offered to you, your students, and your teachers, and your support staff? What do you feel that it's really offered to you as a counselor?
I think it's broadened. It's given me more tools to use. I think sometimes kids are a little more hesitant to put pencil to paper, even to draw sometimes, and you can hook them in with technology. Even though I really do limit it. And if they'll put pencil to paper, that's often really appropriate to keep it that way. Because I want the human connection, just using technology as a tool. It really does, but again, the smart board, I have seen the learning is improved by using technology, and so that's so I would just continue to see how that goes and assessing all the time to see what works best for kids. So there's a lot of new things I'm going to try and I'm going to see, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for kids to demonstrate their learning through technology in a way they might not have liked otherwise.
Awesome. All right, the next question I have for you is, when you were starting to implement your technology and, all of your programs that you want to be able to use, how receptive were all the stakeholders, your parents, the fellow teachers, your administration? What kind of hurdles did you have to get over in that sense?
Everybody was completely accepting, supportive, encouraging. In some ways, I've been not in the vanguard because we have a couple of people that are really tech savvy, but I've been a pretty quick adopter. Everybody's been really supportive. The things that get in the way are the limited time available in the computer lab and the services that we have. And then again, in terms of my own planning, as you have seen at my house, it's hard to have dependable internet or even cell phone service. But the people have been wonderful. I think people know that it helps kids, and so they're supportive.
Excellent. Okay. We're going to kind of try to wrap this up, and I just want to ask you if you have any further advice, any tips you'd like to leave us with, any words of wisdom coming from a counselor of 17 years to a counselor of almost 0 years. I'm definitely interested in any type of tips you have, either in the entire counseling realm or specifically attributing to technology in itself.
Well, I don't know what my advice really could be about technology, other than don't be afraid to try. It's not that hard. A lot of it I've taught myself. You can ask people a couple of questions or look up an answer, and you can really get yourself through it. It's not hard at all. And I think in terms of advice for a counselor, just be open-hearted and honest and connect with kids, and you'll do a great job. And there's lots of counselors out there sharing great information.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank Rebecca for being with us today. You can follow her blog. I'll post some links to her information. Follow her on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Read my blog. And we'll keep sending you guys interviews your way. If you have any friends, family members who are counselors or in education, get in contact with me, and I would love to sit down with them and ask some questions about their professional practice. So thank you, Rebecca, and we'll see you guys next time on the Counseling Geek.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by. Come back soon. Comments and questions are always welcome. You can connect with the Counseling Geek via Facebook by following @CounselingGeek on Twitter, adding me to your circles on Google+, or writing to me via email.